Welcome everyone to the 170th episode of Politically High Tech with your host Elias. You know how random works by now. It's sort of a roll of dice, draw a card. You're not sure what you're going to get. Sometimes it can be extension of politics, sometimes it can be extension of technology. But no, you drew another one. And then sometimes, though your quote unquote luck, if you want to call it that, is repetitive. Yes, more spirituality's coming here, but it's not the Christian type. It's not the Christian type. So don't go, oh, we talk about this already. No. This is a different kind. This is a kind that is definitely piquing my curiosity. And it should pique yours too, especially if you get tired of the verbal war zone that we in with AI, politics. Oh, the Dems are evil, the Republicans are more evil, or God is fake, or God is real. Listen. You want to do that, you do that your own sweet time. It's time for you to get into a little bit of a musa, open your ears, okay? And open your spiritual heart. Yes, I said it, not just your physical ears. This is going to go to your subconscious as well. Let's go beyond the conscious, people. That's what this was going to be all about. And the name is not going to suggest you that he's spiritual, by the way. So you've been warned. John Lawyer. Oh, sounds legalistic. You can forget that, okay? You can forget that. He's going to tell you a story that's going to debunk those low IQ defenses that you have right now, okay? And I'm going to let him take it away. Normally, I have a long-winded or short-scanned version of it, but his story is so good. If I tell it, I might misintentionally put mud on it, skew it. I think it's so good. It's better. It comes from the original source. Mr. John Lord, take it away.
Oh, thank you so much for that introduction. And I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, one more thing. Before I let you talk, I can't believe this just slipped my mind. He has transformed from a physical soldier to a spiritual soldier. That's the only little hint I'm giving. Otherwise, take it away.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will start out from the beginning. I grew up small town in Oklahoma, raised by a Southern Baptist family, which was interesting. They were also liberal progressive. So it was that Southern Baptist conservatism. It was liberal progressive thought. So it was a little bit of both. So that was a little bit different. I didn't stay in the church. I grew away from it as I got older, and I knew I wasn't going to go to college. So I went off to the Army, joined the Army as a counterintelligence special agent. And that was before 9/11, right in the summer of 2000. Got my training, basic training, got my job training, and I went to my first permanent duty station, Fort Gordon, Georgia. And then 9/11 happened not too long after that. And so we were at war, and I spent 2.5 years of my enlistment, my 5-year enlistment in Kuwait. And then I became a civilian doing essentially the same thing as I did as a soldier. And my wife and I spent most of our time together doing similar jobs. She went to all these deployments with me usually. And so 2.5 years in Kuwait, 18 plus months in Baghdad, about 6.5 consecutive years in Kandahar, southern Afghanistan. And, for me, it was, I was so busy during that time that I was kind of lost in it. I was kind of completely enthralled in my job, totally dedicated to it. I was kind of ideologically driven, wanting to make the world a better place, or what I thought would be a better place. I think I have a much different perspective on that now. But I was part of the machine, that big giant military industrial complex, that Western military industrial complex. And you start out, you think you're doing good, and you start to see this dark machine kind of churn and take its toll on you. It takes its toll on people around you and the world around you. And the US and the West can do some amazing things, some good things, but there's also darkness there, and I saw all this as I was going through and exposed to low grade trauma every day that when you're in it, you don't know it. So you're nervous about what might happen to you and the danger that you're in, but you kind of ignore it and don't pay attention to it because we're taught to bottle it up. We're taught to keep it under wraps and just keep doing our job and keep performing in all these different places far away from home. And so you don't realize you're in a boiling pot, right? And so there was that, and there's big traumas that are, you might survive an attack that happens close to you, an explosion or a rocket or something like that, a missile coming in. and had big events like that happen periodically throughout our time as well. And so you have this low grade trauma, you have these higher grade traumas, and you don't realize that you're in it. And so I did that on and off for the first 12 out of the first 15 years of my life, on and off for about 12 years, and came home. Didn't really have an identity outside of that. Didn't know who I was, didn't know what I was, and didn't really even have a capability to heal because I didn't realize that I was whole inside. And it was just hard to even start the process of like coming out of that. So I spent the next 7 years after that just kind of lost a little bit. And that was in 2015 that I came home, my wife and I. And then the 7 years after that, kind of looking for answers. And then about 2 years ago, a little over now, I kind of had a moment of like profound understanding or clarity. People call it an awakening. People call it a lot of different things. The world just made sense to me. The universe made sense. I felt like we were all connected, and I saw a lot of love and light, and I knew what my purpose was, which is to help people help themselves and find their wholeness. And so for the last 2 years, now I've gone, I made it out of this swamp of sadness that I was in. I was stuck and out of the desert. And now I'm kind of on this path of light and love. And I appreciate darkness because it exists in our universe and the world. And but I think that makes the light even better. And so now that I'm on this path of love, I decided I wanted to help people. That's what my purpose is. And I decided, well, how can I do that? Like, what can I do to do that? I felt like there's a place for us to authentically connect with each other in this digital age, that we can have meaningful human conversations, just like you and I are having right now. And so I went out and tried to create a spiritual community online, a nonprofit where people could interact with one another, tell stories, share journeys, find support. And I've worked every day for 2 years with my wife and another good friend of ours who was in Afghanistan with us, another woman. And we've kind of made it happen. So that's kind of what I've been up to.
There's so much to unpack, and thank God you came out of that, because sadly, even though I will never fully understand that kind of trauma, especially related to war, being in a different country and you're constantly in danger and all that other stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very ignorant to all of that, but that's inspired because I could sadly see the end result of PTSD done to veterans. They drank, they would commit suicide. So sadly, I know that statistic. You're definitely more the positive statistic that defy those odds. And to bring it back to your point, you know who you are because you identify your action of who you are. And not just veterans. I mean, sadly, a lot of people put their career or what they do well as their whole identity, and that drives low self-esteem in general. Not that I'm going to ever fully understand your story, but I could already see some commonalities with that. I mean, to a lesser extent, I even had that problem. Oh, I wasn't good at this. Then who am I? I'm just a useless living thing, and that could drive a good amount of people to very, very, very dark place. And even though I always said it that you appreciate the darkness, because I have that somewhat same philosophy, I think my depression was for depression. I wouldn't have been wiser. I would not be resilient. I still would have been a naive idiot if it wasn't for those depressing experiences. So that's why some Christians, they get thrown and say, oh no, I thank God for the depression. I thank God because it turned me to a stronger man and I needed it. All right. So, so I could get that. I don't get thrown off as, oh, I think the dark. So no, I get what you mean by that. He's not thinking, oh, no, I thank you, darkness, for making me so miserable that I'm going to kill myself. No, he's not thinking that. That's insane. That's just simply insane. Doesn't matter what spirituality you're in, unless it's a probably satanic cult, maybe. That will make sense to those folks. But, I get that. That's why I don't get thrown off by him. Some people will. So why are you thinking that for? Oh, because you turn that past experience into a lesson, and that's the best way to move forward. You didn't forget about what happened, not making light of it, but you acknowledge that was needed. That trial tribulation was needed to evolve spiritually, I'm sure emotionally, physically to some extent, if it applies. So that's something that I That's all I can say about that. Anything else you want to add? Go right ahead.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that it's all about. I mean, you talk about you see things and it gives you knowledge, gives you wisdom, right? That experience to be able to move through the world in a better way. I think that's what it's about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you experience so-called joy and easy life all the time, I mean, how can you be really of service to others? Oh yeah, my life is good. While the one is depressing, while one person can be depressed or miserable, that person's not gonna be helpful. One has it easy. Oh yeah, la 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 la. No, 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 no. And then, quite frankly, I can't stand those people personally. That's one of my pet peeves. Overly positive. I can see the fakeness of those folks, but that's just me. Don't attack me. I don't hate happiness. I just don't like toxic positivity / phony happiness. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of that in social media. These people pretend to be happy, pretend to have everything. By the time they get exposed for what they are, oof, it's a lot more darker. These people are generally poor, much poorer than what they let on. But I don't want to get into that social media. I going out off that tangent, attacking the TikToks and all that other stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it spiritual. I want to keep myself grounded. I keep myself grounded. I know how I get. I go off that tangent. Let's make it about John Lawyer and his spiritual journey, not me just bashing TikTok for the 100th time and other social medias like the Facebooks and Instagrams. They're needed, and YouTube. They're needed, but I just think they could be used better. That's my and that's where I'm coming from with that. Yeah, so let's keep it spiritual before I just destroy this episode. So when it comes to your spiritual beliefs, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I call myself a universalist or an omnist, and what an omnist is I believe in like the validity of pretty much all great human thought from around the world across time, whether you're a Buddhist or a Christian or a Hindu or a pagan or a Wiccan. It doesn't matter to me. I think that you have a valid thought. I think it has a perspective that it can offer all of us. I think that we all walk a very unique spiritual path, and that what path I walk is going to be different than the path that you walk, and that's okay. And I think we should celebrate that uniqueness and celebrate the differences and say, I think we're all saying very similar things, whether you're a spiritualist, a new age spiritualist, or an astrologist, whatever, like astrologer, we're all saying very similar things. We're all pointing in a very similar direction about the essence of who we are, what the universe is, and all that. And so I believe in all that. That's essentially my belief. I have my own underneath that umbrella. I have some parts of different spiritual constructs and faiths around the world that resonate more with me. I'm really into Hinduism. I really appreciate Taoism and the balance, and even the mystical traditions of some of the Abrahamic faiths, like mystical Christianity, mystical Sufi Islam, or whatever. I can appreciate that kind of more esoteric aspects of that, and so that's what I believe. I believe come one, come all, come as you are, and we can have a conversation. And if we have a conversation, we can ask better questions, we get better answers, we can change what the answer is as we move, and all that.
Yeah, I always believe that spiritual, especially interspiritual dialogue, it's essential. Because just like you said, and I've said this in previous episodes, everyone is going through a unique journey. So systematizing even anything from the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, what other book that exists that explains part of one spiritual path. Yeah, systematizing religion, I think, puts a bad taste in it because it's just okay. Everybody's good spirit, experience God the same way. Okay, just go to church, you do good. Okay, but yet this kid gets hit by a car. This person gets cancer. This person loses a leg. This person becomes isolated. I mean, not everyone's gonna go through the similar path, and that's one of the many tone deaf things. I mean, even though I'm a Christian naturally, but I'm also a spiritualist as well. I think the spiritual aspects is what's missing in the church. Yeah, we could read a book, but sometimes when you read the book, you just put it away. Who cares? It's boring. Doesn't relate to me. This is all ancient gobbledygook. Okay, that's nice. Who cares? I was like that as a teenager. You will talk to about spirituality spirituality as a teenager, I'll just throw you as a nut. It's okay, nut job. Let's get back to earth about how things are done and blah, 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 blah. Maybe go talk to me, my teenager, gains my depressed years. Oh, I would have been very, very adversarial about it. And I would have even put down anything that was even contrary to what was quote unquote, real on earth. I mean, spirituality is real. I mean, we are spiritual creatures. I mean, you told me that as a teenager, I would fight tooth and nail as if I was trying to fight in a war, verbally, and even at times it was even physical. So, so I was in a dark place at one point, people. So I think that's great that they explain that, because some people could be thrown off by those terminologies. I could really foresee it. I wasn't thrown off by these terminologies. It's something that I'm curious about. And, people just need to grasp that every single spiritual journey, doesn't matter what you do, is going to be unique. That's only constant. It's unique. Yeah, you might be with this person for 10 years, whatever, but that divergence is going to happen at some point, or you're going to experience different things. You could even see the world very differently. You even come from, the same family member, but you could have this person who's more Muslim, this one's more Judaism, and all, or even a different spirit, like the New Age spiritualists, just because, come from the same family, even same neighborhood, same whatever, same race, you go experience things very, very differently. That's how unique the spiritual is. All these other human construct identities, it's not going to matter all that much. That's all I want to say. I want to make sure that gets drilled into the listener's ear. Make sure that earworm is going in there, bite, permeates in your brain, because no one's going to experience spirituality the same way. It's just impossible. We're all unique at the DNA anatomical level already. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't get all preachy and stuff. Feel free to chime in.
No, I agree with that. Like I said, like it's all a unique journey, and it's two things. It's going to be a unique personal journey, and at the same time, we can share with others, and it doesn't have to be a lonely journey. It can be both things at one time. We could have our own unique paths. We could still come together and see how it works and what we're all talking about. So I think it can be both at the same time.
Yeah. I'll just come on another thought. When you tell a story, let people interpret it the way they want to interpret it. So people are going to have different takeaways. Doesn't have to be, just like I said with that short little subtitle, a physical soldier to a spiritual one. They could probably take away something very, very different, and that's totally all right. I want you to get your own understanding, because, like I said, I'll be a hypocrite to tell you to think. If I'm going to tell you to think my way, then I'm being very hypocritical. I'm trying to get you to think like me. That's impossible, no matter how I try to force. And quite frankly, it's going to tire me out. So it's not worth my time, to be quite frank. It's going to tire me out. As long as you get some general understanding, you misunderstand something, just ask me. Or something you're not getting, just have a Q&A after that story, or so I have a one-on-one conversation. That's all. That's all I'm going to say to that, because I believe people should share. People should share, not close it in. I think community is important, because we humans are social animals by nature. So to have this online community in the 21st century is a nice fit. It's not a unique fit, but the focus is unique. At least it's more spiritual. It's not about, who come with the best meme to insult Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Oh, look at this, all that echo chamber nonsense. Or, I'm Team Ron. Oh, I'm Team Robert F. Kennedy. F you, because you're different. No, 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 no. You want to do that, you go to Twitter, you go to Facebook, and just do your posts over there, okay? You got plenty of space. Don't try to infect anywhere else. You got your playground, trolls. You got your playground, okay? Stop trying to turn a spiritual area into a playground. You got your crappy playgrounds. Just continue to crap over there. Okay? Thank you. It's just, you clamping down my First Amendment. No, go over there. We stay in our lane, you stay in your lane. Don't be spiritual, just, we're not going to force it. At least that's what I'm thinking. If a church or any spirituality forces something, then that's a bit of a red flag right there. Because generally speaking, I've been to spiritual groups that were a bit forceful, and I left those groups right away. I was like, okay. Yeah, doesn't feel. It's like control church all over again. I don't know that feeling. Packing my bags. Don't even think twice. I'm not going to even debate, not waste my time. So that's all. So Now transitioning to that, give us some insight about what this Kashar spiritual community is about.
Yeah, our spiritual community is named after the Sumerian goddess for Mother Earth, or Gaia, kind of. And so Kishar, it's this kind of beautiful thing that also, in addition to representing Mother Earth, also represents the line on the horizon, which I think really beautifully describes the journey that we're all on. Because we're all on a journey, even if we don't know it. Sometimes we don't know we're on a journey. We are. Um, and so that's what we named it after. And I thought that was just a great way to describe who we were, because I think that we are all part of nature. Like, we aren't in nature, we are nature. And that kind of that oneness of all us being connected with each other. And we created it to, like I said, be a place that has less noise that you're talking about, away from TikTok, away from Facebook and Instagram, that has some peace and calm, where people felt, oh, I'm not going to get trolled here. It's going to be, lightly moderated, but I'm open-minded discussion, and a place where we can have Zoom conversations together and kind of have a round table and discuss issues. We can, we prompt issues each day and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We have guided meditations, and we also, one of the things we wanted to do was this spiritual journey that we're on is really important. But, most of us aren't going to live in the Himalayas in a monastery or and be a monk, right? We're going to live in the real world. We're going to interact with all these other living human beings that are living in the real world. So how do we take that lifestyle, health, and wellness idea of this holistic thing that we do and make sure that we're living a grounded, centered life in sleep, fitness, nutrition, finances, relationships, so that we're able to have more space and time to be spiritual? And so that's part of it too, is how to make sure that we're taking these blocks of life, these life blocks that we have, and living the best way that we can, so that we're happy, we're joyful, we're energized, and then we're more present, aware, intentional, and happy.
Yep. So he even said it. We all on a journey, whether we realize it or not. If you go on a journey of blindfolds or numb, you're still on the journey. Just because your five senses are not present, you're still in the journey. And for those of you who deny it, all I'm going to say is I'm only going to say this in the Christian way that I can. God help you. That's all I'm going to say. I ain't going to force you. When you're ready, I believe that's when the person will initiate the journey, so to speak, even though they already started it, but they just going through so many spikes and going through the trial blindfolded or numb. Yeah, but no, you keep going. You're just shifting in the, how can I put this nicely without sounding like a Christian elitist? You're going on a weird track. All right. That's the only nicest way I could just say it. But regardless, that's your unique path. Every decision we make, every breath we take, we're going on a unique track. Do I have to agree with it? That's irrelevant. That's really irrelevant. Yeah, no, this is coming from someone who wants to try to guide people in the right direction. But if they're not ready for the help or get guided to a certain direction, not much you could do. There's even a biblical quote about it. When people reject Jesus, what he did, just dust his feet, went somewhere else. So don't bother forcing it, people. That's my point. So I'm going to say good luck to you. You're missing out. But, they got to come to that realization themselves. I think you wanted to add something.
No, I agree with that. The people got to be, it's about being open to the universe. You got to be ready for it. There's awareness, definitely awareness involved about like wanting to do it, understanding where you're at. And that's okay. I mean, like what I want to say too is that I think our society really teaches us to be walled off from a young age by we have all these different tribes that compete for our attention, our parents, our community, our school, or our coworkers, So then we end up with all these like layers around us that we didn't form. They were formed by people around us. And then we don't understand our own layers that we could have formed ourselves or that exist within us,
Yeah. I mean, we're shaped from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is a fundamental truth. It could be from a normal family, or I'm going to give such an odd example, or child raised by animals. Who knows? There's a possibility for that, especially you've seen how the ape raised a human being. It is possible. All right. It may be weird. Oh, what are you talking about? I already said everybody's journey is unique. If you can't process that, that's on you. But all I'm going to say is, we are shaped from baby even now, there's probably gonna be certain things you're not aware of that are shaping us. It could be the news. I mean, people that we're around, co-workers. I'm just thinking real adult present examples. Well, of course, when you're a child, you got the school, you got the teacher, and then if apply, oh, yeah, but parents obviously play a big part. And when you become a teenager, that's more your friends. You know, we all go through our own molding. I'm going to call external molding and layers because it was put on by other people, and you put on those layers because, to a great extent, want to be accepted, or ironically, trying to figure out who we are. I just don't have, some of us don't even have a clue. So, man, shoot, you talked about I was 13, who I was. I couldn't provide you a good answer. I remember this one person keep asking, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And I just swear this guy was. I just swear I thought this guy was. Well, I didn't use the word troll. I said, "You are really trying. You just really try to get me aggravated." Oh, that's what you do. Okay, that's just your race, but who are you? I said, "Oh, oh my, oh, that's your religion. Who are you?" To be honest, if murder was legal, he would have been the first guy killed for keep asking me that question. That's how agitated I was. But I think he was just trying to get us very, very deep into our spiritual identity. But of course, at the time, no, so I just think he was just pissing me off. And I was a teenager at that time. So I already give you all this answer. What more do you want? Come on. I don't got all day. But that's your own lane. We have to do. Who are you? Who are you? Okay, minus
No,
experiences, minus this, minus your gender identity, minus all that. Who are you?
yeah. And one of the most famous spiritual books in the, I think it was written in the 60s or 70s by Ram Dass. It's called Be Here Now. And here he is. He was just this white dude professor in Cambridge, Massachusetts, teaching at Harvard. Had everything. He had a little Cessna plane, had a boat, had tenure and guest professor at Berkeley and Stanford, and had all this stuff, right? And then he took psilocybin, mushrooms, and he started to realize, like, I'm not the cello that I play, and I'm not the boat that I own, and I'm not the professor that I am, and I'm not any of these things. Who am I, right? Like, and that's one of the most powerful parts of that book for me, is that question that guy was asking you: who are you? Who am I? Right? And then I'm not my name, I'm not my job, I'm not any of this stuff. I'm something really deep in there.
Yeah, I mean, if I would appreciate that, I would have got that question 21. I probably would have answered better, but yeah. But you already got what he was already going through, that he was trying to get. Yeah, because that's how all these are normal, fleshly, earthly answers that we provide. Let's just try to just shut that question down, complete it, and let's just move on. No, nope, it wasn't that. But me as 13 years old, I was already a pretty patient kid. I want to get to the next scene pretty quick. And this is before the whole smartphone. So yeah, I'm aging myself a little bit there. Yeah, cell phones exist, but we ain't talking about no Wi-Fi or things like that. I came a bit later, a bit later. I'm softening my age bill right there. A bit later. But I was already pretty impatient. So I don't want to say, how many times you ask me, who are you? Kids could do that with the whole why question. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why?
Yeah.
So why are you spiritually this way? Why? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, if you're just dominated by your emotions, you just want to strangle the kid. I mean, but and I mean, it's funny and all, but now as a teenager, I was very, very annoyed, but he was getting some deep. I mean, of course, I didn't catch it. It took me eons later
Yeah.
to start getting deep into it. So I'm sure you've been frustrated with this. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only crazy person that's been frustrated with this. I'm sure you want to strangle that person too. You just keep asking, who are you? Who are you? You provide 20 different answers. Still not satisfied. Pops back up again. Who are you? I mean, it's a very great way to annoy somebody for sure. But that's not the intent here. It's not the intent. It's to get you deeper than your name, your race, your gender, what you do, nationality, ethnicity, religion, your accomplishments, your socioeconomic status, and all the above. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say about that. And then I think it'll be a good time to clarify what does it really mean to be open to the universe? I mean, that's a very, very broad statement, even a question if you ask it.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that. I think that there's a lot of in pop culture now, kind of pop spiritual culture. You hear about law of attraction, manifestation, the secret, right? What you seek is seeking you, that kind of thing. And I think that we do attract what we seek, like the energy that we're putting out in the universe and the world. It's going to come back to us, right? It's karma. Um, and so if I'm positive, I'm gonna receive more positive stuff in my life. But I think being open to the universe. Say you ask the universe for something, or you want or you need something from the universe, right? Well, one, I think you got to meet the universe halfway. It's not just like it's going to drop a Ferrari in your lap, right? You got to meet the universe halfway, but you also got to be open to receiving what the universe sends you, and it might send you an answer that you don't even see. You got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for that thing that the universe is coming in, and the universe is always in motion. I don't believe in absolutes in this world. The only absolute that I really believe in is change and the motion of the universe. The universe is always changing. The world's always changing. We're always in motion. Our celestial bodies, the planets, the universe is all of it. Our bodies are in motion internally. So motion and change really is that only absolute. So being open to the universe is being ready for what the universe is sending you, being ready to receive what you've asked of it. It's being realizing that you can't just stand there and expect it to happen. You have to move with it. It's a dance. And so for me, that kind of encapsulates being open to the universe.
Yeah, that is more than just, I mean, I'm going to add a Christian flair to it. You reap what you sow.
Yeah, Hosea 8:7.
Good. Yeah, so if you do good comes back to you. I mean, that's the Christian way of explaining that concept for you who are not fully getting it. I won't be surprised a good amount of my listeners are Hindi. I mean, I do get a good amount of listeners from India, so I think they appreciate this Hinduism being added into it to some extent. Not every single one of them are Hindus. Some of them could be Muslim, some even Christian. I find out such a few villages that Christianity is pretty dominant, which I was shocked to hear. I'm not saying all you Indians are Hindu. Trust me, I know y'all are multi. Hindu is the main religion, but not every single Indian is right. Hindu. That's my point. And so I mean, obviously in America, even a more interesting example, we have a good amount of Christian within that Christian umbrella, is a whole bunch of Catholics, Protestants, evangelicals, Methodists, Southern Baptists, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to get into so much stuff in that Christian umbrella. And then there's the Muslim umbrella, and then there's the Jewish umbrella, then there's the Hindu umbrella, and then there's the whatever the heck you are umbrella in America. So, I think America is, I'll say, pretty diverse on that. I'm not gonna, there's even some, and there's those who just want to deny all that. The atheists or the agnostics. The atheists is, atheists is more believing that he's believing the earth, and while the nihilists, they just believe there's no point in believing in this stuff. That's a weird belief. But hey, you got there. I'm gonna pretend to understand it. I ain't gonna try to change you either. Not my style. I'm sorry to have the dialogue. I'll let my actions do the talking and my presentation do the work for me instead of just talking a good game. Because a big problem with a lot of these communities is they talk a good game, the action doesn't even match half of it, and that's a big problem. And that tarnishes the credibility of not just religious groups, even certain spirituality groups. Yeah. So that's why I think we should represent ourselves best. The word should be secondary. So our actions, how we bring ourselves. I mean, they could kind of detect it. Even those who don't claim to not believe in anything, they will detect it. So I don't know. I sense a different aura. They claim you atheist. I sense something different. I'd be able to put their finger on it. They know something different. So, atheists like picking on you. You should know that by now. It's not the first time I've said stuff like that. I'm trying to get you in. Come on. Enough with the blinders. But I can't force you in the end of the day. I can't force you. And I think spiritually I'm getting more strong because before I used to just go off the wall, almost like Trump Biden like when he go unfiltered. it comes to this stuff. And I think I'm calming down on that. I think that's spiritual growth. That's why I let them be silly. Let them bang their head on the wall. It's okay. It's okay. I know you was quite stupid for doing that, but are you okay? So saying, oh, you're a freaking idiot. Just fall and die for all I care. So that's definitely more spiritual growth. Yes, I'm becoming nicer, people. I'm becoming nicer. That's what happens. But I still got an assertive warrior side. Definitely not like John Law. I'm not gonna compare that. He went through very tough stuff. All right. I'm not gonna dare. I know when to keep my mouth shut. I'm not gonna compare it to that. But just being from not so nice streets gets you in a certain mode and mindset and gets you to a survivor mode. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. And that takes away even the spiritual. You become almost to a certain degree like it's like an animal just care because all these animals they teach us something, but they just care about survival. We could devolve ourselves to an animal. So she's trying to deny the spiritual aspect, which is very important. And we are losing that, I believe, the way we're going. So that's why I appreciate different spiritual communities trying to put that forefront 21st century, especially in online forum. Instead of just going to some old dusty church like it's gonna fall apart any minute, some of them. So that I appreciate. Anything else you want to add before I ask the next question?
No, I'm good. I appreciate that perspective.
Nah, feel free to talk and dominate. It's about you here. They heard me long enough. They heard me too many times already, these listeners. All right. So now to play low level devil's advocate. Well, what separates the Kashar spiritual community from, let's just say, mostly Christian, mostly Jewish, mostly Muslim, mostly Bush? What makes that community unique?
That's a good question. I appreciate it. I think that for me, it's I'm ready to stand next to anybody, regardless of who they are, what they believe. I think the biggest thing is it's everybody come practice their spiritual idea or philosophy or religion the way they want. And all that I would say is attempt to do it without like this overt dogma around it, these rules, these regulations, these ecclesiastical imperatives, right? That which essentially is not, that was never intended, in my opinion, by God or by the universe or by whatever being or divinity that you subscribe to. That was put together by man, probably by humans. And so all these rules, regulations, all this dogma that's tied up in organized religion, but also even in some spiritual communities that are new age spiritual or various spiritual, they have rules too. Like it's okay to have rules. It's okay to have a sane, organized, moderated community. That's okay. But where you get in trouble is when you tell someone what they should believe, when you tell someone how they should practice their faith, when you tell someone how they should walk their spiritual path. So I think the difference is that it's an openness, it's a willingness to talk to anyone and everyone. It's a willingness for them to be able to practice what they want to practice right next to me, and that we can do it together. I'll go practice my path, you go practice your path. We can do it right next to each other, and that's okay. And I think that we'll find greater truth doing that because we all walked out of Africa together. We all archaeologically, anthropologically walked out of East Africa and into the world, around the world. And what did we all believe when we were together there? What was the unifying thought? Let's ask those questions. So that's kind of the idea is behind us.
Seems like intuitively I know, but not all listeners have that kind of intuitive sense. That was my impression. Thank you for confirming that. Yeah, because let me give you a more ridiculous example. What one rule? I want you to talk a certain way. John, talk like this. I want you to talk like this. It's so nice and calming. Yes, effeminate yourself. That's ridiculous. No, people are gonna talk the way they're gonna want to talk because it was taught to express themselves that way. Rather is true or phony. That's kind of a whole different beast. But they was taught to express a certain way. What will be another ridiculous thing? Okay, every Monday we all gotta wear white shirts. This is Monday. But yeah, people have different interpretations of time. People live in different time zones. It could be Monday here. Probably in Australia is already Tuesday. So they definitely got to wear a different shirt, something as ridiculous as that is just okay. All right. That's enough. I mean, hey, I mean, these are overtly ridiculous examples, but sadly, certain church groups swear by them and they abide by them, which I personally think is a bit weird. If I'm going to be nice about it, um, it's not. Yeah, they're ridiculous. And I think it takes away from the main reason why people are gathered in this group. Or for example, jewelry. Oh, that's too much jewelry. You're wearing too little jewelry. I mean, certain church groups have tossed that away because they find that ridiculous. But yeah, I think rules are such a major distraction from the main goal. Well, ridiculous rules. Housekeeping rules is one thing. You don't want people trolling. Oh, that's a different thing. I was like, oh, John Ola got cancer. You know, you want to start stuff like that. You want to start conflict. That's a whole different story. That's more substantial, but little things about
Yeah.
appearances, about how one express. I mean, that's so insignificant, compared to one who just wants to start coming here with bad faith intentions, want to start just insulting people and or instigate a fight. Those people. I can understand there's rules got to be put on those type of folks who wants to start conflict. I mean, I'm all for that, and I'm sure the vast majority of humanity will support that instead of just okay, it's open to anything. So okay, I could curse out John Lloyd, you could curse at me too, or or being so open to the point that it causes too much chaos. I was like, oh, there's gotta be a boundary where you draw that line. And I think that could be a great debate about where we draw that line. I'm sure people want to start problems that I'm sure most of us could agree. Okay, you got to get out. It's like a person going to a library and just starting a parade or something. You definitely want to kick that person out because they there to read and and just study. They're not there for a parade or festivities. Or let me give you the very morbid example. You want to operate a body in a restaurant. That's gross, and a lot of people's gonna puke their food out. I mean, you're not gonna do that. That's a morbid example, but just to the point that yeah, I think we gotta definitely have some order. Hey, I think order is a better word. So you could have this spiritual discussion and guidance flourish instead of just being disrupted by nonsense.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
How do you have the least amount of rules and order that where you can still facilitate something that resembles a community and is a place where people can can flourish and have a free exchange of ideas and all that.
Yeah, I see the most quiet guest. See, I feel like I talked your head off. Feel free to chime in even though I'm interrupt. So this episode's about you. So I hope you're getting something, listeners. Let me talk to you, listeners. This is important here. This is not for me, just expressing memes just for laughs. I'm sure some of you enjoy that. I might be comedic and silly, but there's a time and place where we need to be productive. And this is being productive in a more spiritual sense. And I know that don't normally go together in the normal brain, but we could be productive spiritually. And we have forgotten that. This is why I would say anxiety is through the roof. We don't know how to meditate. We don't know how to de-stress. We don't know how to do that because we're addicted to the laptop, the smartphone, or even some areas hustle and bustle got to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doing 6 things per minute, and brain's gonna be overwhelmed. And brain is it's a great organ we have, but it does get overwhelmed. And you gotta, well, I gotta. It would be great if you train it to relax, decompress. It's like muscles and all that. It
Yeah.
needs a break. And your spirit is hungry. It's
Yeah.
hungry.
I think learning how to quiet the mind and quiet our ego. I think that's really important. That's part of what we talk about a lot in our community. What I talk a lot about in some of my individual spiritual guidance sessions with people, like how do you quiet your mind? How do you quiet your ego? How do you put it kind of aside so that you can kind of just have a little peace and calm? Because our mind and ego want to keep us alive, but they tend to over focus on the negative because they've kept us alive for thousands of years. They do that by reminding us how we might be harmed or whatever. So it kind of overforms. We have to kind of acknowledge that, say, oh, okay, that's just my mind, my brain, my ego trying to keep me safe. So if I know that, I'm aware of that, and suddenly I'm not letting it impact me as much. And some of this negative stuff it's telling me, I don't have to take it to heart because it's just overperforming.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, that's one of the many functions of the brains to make sure that you're safe. Yeah, and make sure that you're grounded in the earthly sense. And we just make that distinction. And the earthly sense is okay, does this make sense? John, you can't be serious about making $1 trillion. Are you crazy? That's the analytical brain.
Right.
Trying to talk you out of that affirmation. I think that's why some of them said, do it while you're about to fall asleep. Some suggest whispering it. Rather you take my advice or not, it's entirely up to you at the end of the day. I can't put a gun and go through your screen and just point at you to say you better follow my thing or else. I'm not gonna do that. That's ridiculous. And it has to be natural. It has to be at you're ready. When you're ready to feed that underdeveloped spirit. And that's my point. Why do I feel like I'm doing a seminar? Am I meant for seminar? I don't know. I'm getting more seminar. I don't know. That's weird. I'm not actually just analytical site sources, whatever, but I am more than what I admit. I thought I was all analytical and systems until I realized I got a creative side when I have to solve certain problems. It's not my main frame of thinking, but I will use it if I know my analytical systematic thinking is not working in a particular situation. That's something I learned by myself kind of recently. So okay, I'm actually a bit creative when I need to be. It's more like a survival mechanism in a weird sense. Not my primary way of thinking when it comes to earthly problems. So make sure just have a proper perspective for your mind, because you don't want to cut your mind off. You're comatose, you'd be a vegetable. That's not what we're suggesting here. Just keep perspective. Your brain has so much functions. It's your vision, it's your thinking, it's your even your smell. I mean, so much stuff goes to the brain. Your muscles, all of that. Your subconscious, where you're focusing on spiritually, you see it in the brain.
Yeah.
So much. So we will never suggest just to lobotomize your brain. No. It's a part of you. Okay.
That's right.
So if you're thinking that's what we're going to insinuate here, absolutely not. And I could confidently speak for John. He's not going to promote that at all. He already knows some of the dark side of that, being a former cog of the military industrial complex. So I could almost bet money that he's not saying that or even suggesting that. So just make sure clear before we move on. So, yep, that's all I gotta say. All right. So this is the call to action. I'm gonna do this right now. He's great. Give him a shot. He's definitely not, he's not using that military training to put a gun through my head. Okay. And trust me, once I release the video version, you will know that. Unless you want to edit it with AI and do some malicious, well, that's on you. Just saying that right now. So, look, we need calm. All right. We definitely need it because there's so much conflict for both good reasons. I mean, what I mean by that, I mean good conflict, not violent war or trolls trying to one up each other with insults and one snappy lines. Not referring to that kind of conflict. I'm talking about conflict in terms of verbal, thoughtful debate about how we resolve a complicated issue. That's a good debate. Not all conflict needs to be bad, but definitely war and blowing up and killing people, that's objectively bad. I don't care what spiritual lane you're from, it's bad. Okay. And spirituality is about life. I mean, Hinduism has its way of expressing it, Christianity has its way of expressing it, Buddhism, Taoism, all the other, even the past ones have their way of expressing what they see as life is. So they're not talking about being pro-death and just, chopping. I'm sure they have stories of that, but that's not the main takeaway. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Anything else you want to add? And just go to kishar.org. That's spelled KISHAR.org. It's a non-for-profit. If it ends with that, it means it's non-for-profit. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, usually that's what it means.
Yeah. Okay. And I just want to make sure. I'll make sure I'm not misrepresenting it. But that's my understanding of it. And you're gonna be part of live discussions, join roundtable, and get to deep dive on. I'm sure it's gonna be some earthly issues, but with a tie, with a definitely a very strong tie of spirituality. Okay, this is just for spiritual content and discussion. Okay, no ads, no troll, no throwing the F bombs or the S bomb or whatever other bomb you want to come up with. Mean curse words, people. I mean, some people may express themselves that way, but I'm actually adding a layer to it, But definitely no start conflict, especially with stupid ads. Okay, you're selling a Viagra, things like that. They're not gonna allow that. No, 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 no. It's not for profit. Okay, not for profit. It's anti-ad. Okay, even though I'm a pro-business person, but you can put that aside. Get some breathing. Remember, feed your spiritual self. I mean, that's what separates us from all the other animals. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And I'm speaking. I'm speaking for him. He could chime in because this is his community, not mine. And of course, it has guided sessions, daily affirmations, guided meditation, and journaling prompts. All that very important. Some writing, you want to do electronically, you'll do paper. Throw my little Starkiness, the boomer way, the millennial way, whatever works for you. Some people call me a neo boomer because I still use pen and paper. So I like that. I want to take a break from the computer screen. Hurts my eyes. Sure. That's just my preference. Or one could they just love using OneNote or some note application, just type in some notes and just, they could do the Bible through the smartphone. Me personally, I don't suggest that, but you whatever floats your boat. No, that's all I'm going to say about that. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's going to, it could work for you. Sometimes results is 90-day difference. And we're all unique, like I said. And sometimes I got to remind myself that because sometimes I'll forget, especially when I'm seeing things that's about to irk me. I'm just calling myself out here. I know I'm like, why? I said, why? Like, for let me just use this example right now. Why is John not talking so much? And you know why? I'm not used to it. I'm used to the guests talking. That's and that's just me being mildly hypocritical that everybody's different. He's letting me do the yapping. I'm used to the guests doing the more yapping, the blah, 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 blah. Yeah,
I mean, I do love to talk. I could talk all day, but I like to let people talk too. I think it's important to listen. I do a lot of listening in my job, and I do a lot of listening in my spiritual job. I used to do a lot of listening when I was a counterintelligence agent too. So I'm used to listening to people, and I think that it's important that we listen to each other. So I like to just have a conversation, and so it's been great. I mean, I've felt like I've gotten to say some cool things, and I appreciate it, and I've appreciated listening to you as well.
Oh yeah, no, let me not suggest that you didn't say anything valuable. You said valuable things, and sometimes it's not quantity, and sometimes I get used to that. I'm very I'm not easily sensitive. It comes to, okay, this person got to talk a certain amount of time. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, now I got it. Sometimes people speak less, but yet that less is more. This is this particular instance. I'm pretty sure John is not a mute person, but just like he says, he has excellent listening, both his past job and now he's transferring that skill to being in the spiritual community. It makes perfect sense. I mean, maybe be quiet. You see, that's one part of my brain that's something. Not used to getting certain things his way. Gotta recognize these things. We're human. We're not these celestial angels. And I'm sure when we get out of this bag of organs, we'll send it to back to being angel or soul, what have you. People call it all kinds of different things.
That's right.
But this is temporary. And that's my main point. This whole being organic life, this is very temporary. This thing will rot. This thing will stink. This thing, it will eventually turn to dust. So it's not permanent, people. So do what you can with your life. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But he does, he don't speak as much, but he said a lot of valuable things. Okay. Sometimes I don't need a person to speak long biblical paragraphs. That's just something personally I gotta get used to. As a host, I've been doing this for 3 years. So man, personally, I'm not used to it. That's just me. That's just me. Has nothing to do. Well, I have something to do with him because he's in this episode, but generally it doesn't. All right. Any other call to action you want to provide for the listeners?
No, I appreciate you throwing the website out there. That's our main place. They can catch us. Our socials are there if they want to check us out there. That's fine. And they can always check out our YouTube channel. It's there to help people. Our YouTube's all about putting information out in a way that's usable, relevant, easy to understand. Hopefully, I'm on there. Hopefully, you think people that watch it think I explain things in a way that it makes sense. So, check out our YouTube. Check out our website at keyshare.org and come and have a conversation.
And if I have not mentioned this enough, I need to put that intro video into the description of the episode. Now I just normally just link the profile, which is good, but I think that video is so good. I want to make it easy for the listeners to at least have some resemblance of what I'm talking about, or what you and your wife has done. At least see that work, because it's captivating. To be honest, you didn't have to do intro. Just play at least a portion of that video. I mean, it's really good. I rarely compliment an intro, and it's that great. I can't compliment it enough. Now, Lyle's got these cheesy 30-second pitches. I'm gonna easily forget that. Eyes roll. Yeah, I'm calling out the podcast. I'm about to shut down. Pod match community with your corny 30-second to 1 minute pitches that which I will forget in a nanosecond. You need to see this video. It's over, I think, 12, 13 minutes long, but trust me, it's not gonna feel like it. Like, why? That time flew, yeah. It's gonna feel like, all right, 30 seconds to a minute. I'm not blowing smoke. It's really, really good. It's out of this world. Okay. Yeah, that's the way I'm gonna put it. It's out of this world. All right. So he got various socials. I mean, he's one of those that got a million of socials. Yeah, and includes that TikTok. Bleh. But as a duty of the host, to honor my duties, I have to share it. But it doesn't mean I can't express my opinion on that. Yeah.
We're pretty tame. We're pretty tame. We got some short meditations on there, 30-second meditations.
Well, TikTok's going to need a lot more than that, because that is just a factory for mental illness. But okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, let me see. I'm right about to.
I love it. I love it. It's great.
It's they promote the most low IQ, idiotic things. I mean, you know what? Post more content in there. Cleanse that dumpster that's there. It needs it. It really needs it. I don't even care if it's the Kashar or the Christians, or the stuff they promote is just, oh man, yeah. It may sound like a boomer to some of you, but you younger generation, if you treat that as a legitimate news source, and yet you're trying to fight misinformation, take a real deep look at yourselves. You are a big part of misinformation. And not just TikTok. I even got to call out the Facebook, the Instagram. And I'm still going to call it Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I don't care what Elon Musk says. It's Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. X is the alphabet. Okay. And so it's Twitter. I'm sure Elon Musk is not going to care. Good for him. I'm going to call it Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I'm sure I'm siding with the left here. I got a lot of issues with them as well, but that's one of the few things that me and the left-leaning people agree. Yeah, we call it Twitter because change it to X. It's just an alphabet letter. It's so I get on with it. Yep, just keep pushing the spiritual content, and TikTok, stop being evil, stop suppressing good stuff, because I know what you do. I've seen it through friends' accounts. Yes, no, I'm using proxies. My friends in there, they're my proxies. I've seen the foulness in there, promoting violence, nonsense, even condemning spirituality. I mean, stuff that doesn't serve a higher purpose. Okay, I'm supposed to be wrapping this up. Just stop me right here. Stop me, John. I'm going off the tangent here with bashing social media. Yeah, you
That's
see,
all
you
right.
see, you see, you see, even he likes entertaining stuff. Okay. Yeah, man. Obviously, people love my bad habits. Well, this is a tame version. I normally want to go off the wall already. Yeah, you could tell I'm spiritually fed. I mean, it's getting hard for me just to say the most controversial X-rated thing fluently. Normally, I would just say 20 of them already, no problem. Yeah, watch the older episodes. Yeah. Oh, when lives is not as spiritually as rich. Trust me, it's gonna stay there. I say, yeah, that's the past me. And eventually I'm going to be more refined. And I'm still gonna have the same opinion. I'm still gonna have a smart aleck attitude, but it's gonna be
Yeah.
expressed differently in a higher frequency instead of just stooping down to sewer level. Okay. That's the only difference. It's just the style of it. So look, if a former soldier counterintelligence can get into spirituality, and trust me, he had every reason not to even get into a single spiritual journey. The type of conditioning, mental conditioning he had to go through for over what 15 years. Yeah. That's very hard to overcome. That is definitely not easy. It definitely takes a spiritual intervention to stop that turn a clock in a certain direction. It definitely takes that. I mean, it's great that they have therapies and all that, but it would have been took a much longer time. I mean, it takes time too spiritually, but I think it turbocharges the greatness of human connection. The spiritual aspect's always there. It's just that we are not connected to it. That's only variable, the human connection to the spirituality. The sad people deny that. So that's all I'm gonna say. If he could do it, you can too. Okay. Mine was definitely not as rough as that. Even though I was exposed to pragmatic, humanistic, atheistic, agnostic, even nihilistic thinking, and even church hypocrisy I experienced. I had a reason to go the other direction too, but we have defeated those odds. And we continue to fight those odds that disconnects us from our spiritual selves, if that makes sense. It's very important. And the modern society is just trying to do away with that. Medicines can't cure things. Sometimes you gotta do things spiritually. Not gonna be a cure to some of these diseases that the modern society has a struggle curing or tamping down. All right, I think I have said enough. Anything else you want to add before I wrap this up?
No, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, no problem. So remember, check his stuff out. It's good for your spiritual well-being, okay? And he's not gonna preach, talk down to you. It's gonna be guided, but you have to forget just an open mind. Just be ready. That's it. Be ready. Just like Nike. Once you're ready, just do it. Okay.
Great.
All right. So that's all I'm gonna say. So from whatever time zone you're at, you have a blessed day, afternoon, or night.